Ben Wheeler, ally of Imagineyourgoddess, with a Aquaforce build designed for set 13. This is a pretty decent build. It's won a couple battles, Gold Paladins, and it nearly beat a Revengers deck, but he had all the cards he needed. When he needed them. But that's Revengers. Starter. This is Cobalt Wave. Ooh, Cobalt Wave. Starter is Eric. Eric is one of the best starters before Blue Storm Marios, I think his name is, comes out. What he is Catalyst 1, top 5 for grade 3. The problem with Aquaforce is that the grade 0s either try to give him card advantage, field advantage, or hand advantage. I don't mean field advantage, I mean power in the field, like being a good booster or something. And unfortunately, there's none of them that really stand out. Eric is a generic card. He's good card. He's great in Aquaforce, but he is still generic, and that sort of needs to change. A lot of clans have unique stuff like Nubatama, which has a thing that Soul Blasts and makes an opponent discard a bound card. Two bound cards. Was it boosted Nubatama Vanguard? Choose 2 cards from your opponent's binds them and discard them. That's fantastic. Why not run it? But you can't really do this in this because no binds up. Dear Lord, that would F up Dungaree. Oh my goodness, I just realized that. Sorry. Dungaree has a bind zone, native to himself. Let's see. So, I'm really looking forward to Blue Storm Marius. Sure, he works with Blue Storm, but I'm going to be changing. I'm going to, be working on a Maelstrom deck. That'll be quite interesting, but you'll have to wait for set 15. Let's go for triggers. Bop. 4, 8, 4. 4 draw triggers. I like the otter a lot. I like the art. It's a cute little otter. Oh, cute little otter. Who's a cute little... Anyway. But love the art. Also, cards with abilities are better than those without them. Unless in the case of the 8, 10 defense cards and attack cards. Because, usually there's really not a better choice. Or it's just simply the best choice of bad ones. Like in Nubatama's case. Plus 3k to the Vanguard when it goes into the Soul. Great Nature and Bermuda have similar ones. Castanet Donkey and Heartful Ale Fundy. And they're fantastic cards. 5k really should be put surgically to make sure the right thing. There's some cards that lose a lot of power, and this really helps them keep up. I'll talk about them when they show up. 8 crit triggers. You'll notice I'm running 3 different ones. That's just because I don't have the crit triggers. I'm not a complex man. I don't play mind games. I just beat them to death, and 8 triggers is the best way to do. 8 crit triggers is the best way to do it. If they think, oh, look at him, he's running all these different crit triggers, he must be running 12. You are stupid. You are no. Deserve to be beaten about with a newspaper. People run set ratios of things. And they can be predicted. Like, if you know you have a very cautious player, they're probably running more draw. If you know you got a very aggressive player, you know they're probably going to run more crit. Like, there was this one guy in Springfield who ran a 12 crit 16 crit Eradicator deck, no heals. It was terrifying. Sure, once you broke through the defense and got him to 6, he was just dead. But at the same time, you had to weather the fact that every drive check was 2 damage, 3 damage. And he's hitting for like 31k a turn. And it's like, if you didn't have perfect shields, you were dead. These things can be predicted. Also, like Nubatama, you're finding Nubatama, it's going to be Rainbow Triggers. Or Mega Colony, it's going to be 8-4, so on and so forth. Wheel Assault. At Counterblast 1, at the end of the battle that this unit boosted If you have an Aquaforce Vanguard, counter +1, obviously. Choose 2 Aquaforce Rearguards and exchange positions. They do not, obviously, when you exchange, they don't go like this. They just go whoop. Anyway, he's good because even though I've got 10 cards that can attack multiple times, in case I don't get them, I need a way to fix it. This deck is all about attacking multiple times by itself, and the problem with this deck is that it doesn't do boosters well, and I don't know why. I think it's just how it was shuffled. But with this, it's just another safeguard. In other words, I've got 12 cards, but this one doesn't really count because counter last, I don't know, which can change positions. That's fantastic. That's a full bit less than a fourth. Yeah, it's about a fourth of the deck is all about switching stuff. The rest of it is about boosting damage or other abilities. But at the same time, you know, that sort of thing can affect how guard is, rear guards, etc., etc. Because once you, let's say the Vanguard gets a trigger or whatever, then you could just switch off to other things. Kill their rear guards and whatnot. You know, sure, Revengers might sit pretty behind 15k Vanguard or 14k or whatever, and you can only hit for 10, but you swing at their rear guard. And it's like, okay, fine. Let's see how you do constantly having to replace it before you're ready. But really, it's difficult to say how a thing will go. 2 AK boosters. This guy. He's just for the early pressure, in case I get him. These guys are for defense, ride, boosting, any number of things. They help hit 13k, mostly. With cards like Benedict, who I'll show later. 2 of these, Soul Blast 2, draw 2, draw 1. Not sure I'm going to run more than 1 in this deck, but 2 for now, because it's usually what most people run. And I don't really have a better slot right now. I could run 4 8Ks. Or for the 7k, if there's 2 or less tapped rear guards, it gets plus 3k. But, excuse me, don't feel like it. 4 perfects. Standard, please run 4 perfects. This deck actually needs them because there isn't a lot of card advantage, and you need to outlast your opponent long enough for them to run out of perfect shields. Does it happen all the time? No. Boost the Vanguard. Plus 4k in the battle, helps Cobalt Wave break 25. It hits 27 with this boosted, and it's the 4th attack or more, and that's just fantastic. 3 Basil. Basil is 10k, first attack, attacks the Vanguard, plus 2k, switches with rearguard. So in other words, you go like this, bam, switches with Tidal Assault, bam, bam. Tidal Assault is... when this unit attacked a Vanguard, it stands again, gets minus 5k, cannot be used again, obviously. So it goes from 9k to 4k. This is attack, bam, bam. This is 3 attacks. When Cobalt Wave says, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, if it is the 4th battle of the turn or more, it gets plus 5k. You still got this column over here. You know, you still got this column over here that hasn't done anything, ready for triggers. This is part of the winning image of the deck. So many attacks, so few, so many times. Sure, they're weak, but at the same time, early game, they're absolutely devastating. I run 3. 3 of these, 3 of these. You know, I pushed a Revengers to 5. He healed on the twin drive, and so put him back down to 4, and that relieved some pressure. And then he had 11k defense. The weakness of this deck is 11k defense. Against this deck, 11k is a defense. Is it much of one? Sure. But if there's a booster that's still standing, it's not a defense. It's just a 5k defense. This hits, with the 7k booster, this hits 11. Other cards will hit 12, 13. Okay, so that's half the grade 2s. The other half is 12k attackers 2 or less, 11k if it's 4th battle or more. I'm sorry, if it's 3rd battle or more, and if this is 4th battle or more, draw a card on hit Vanguard. These are abilities that go off on the... These are the cards that go on the other column. Okay, if you had a Vanguard over here, you know, this is how it goes. Attack, boom, boom, and then any number of things. These, not as much. They're supposed to go behind a Benedict to help hit 11Ks or greater. And just be that nuisance. But at the same time, they're very useful in so many different situations. Attacking a 7k, 10k attacker, forcing out guard, any number of things. Obviously weak against cross rides, but this deck is super weak against cross rides. It's not even funny. Grade 3s, Benedicts. Attacks of Vanguard, tap, untap, minus 5k. You only use once. It's good. It's just like Tidal Assault. It is the original Tidal Assault. It's a promo. Pretty cheap, actually. This is actually, except for maybe the Basils and the Glory, this is a pretty budget deck. You could run four Cobalts, you know, remove the Basils, put 4 Titles, and just throw in whatever you want for the grade 3s. There's the 8k, 11k Limit Break 4. Perfect Shields are super cheap right now. They'll be even cheaper when set 15 comes out because there'll be a Quintet wall. Trade is plentiful. Tetra Drive probably drove up prices a bit right now, but they'll go down. Especially when the Quintet wall comes out. This card goes on the rearguard slot. Tap, tap, 2 attacks. With Basil, that's 3 attacks. Obviously, they're not going to hit 11k. Weakness of the deck, as I mentioned before, but it activates abilities, which is why they're in there. This deck is the menace of 10k decks. There are so many ways to hit 10k, it's not even funny. But 10k is not the norm anymore. This is really a product of a bygone time, but it's still pretty fun. Cobalt Wave. When this is Limit Break 4, if it's 3rd battle or more, plus 2k plus 1 crit. Normal ability, plus 4 or more, plus a 4th battle or more, plus 5k. Hits 17 crit 2 on 4th battle by itself. 27 is the highest, 37 is the highest I got to with 2 triggers. 3 crit. It was fantastic. But at the same time, this card's really lackluster. Opponent guards early, he just eats it. And it doesn't do anything else. That's the bad part about this. This is what makes this card bad. It doesn't do anything else. It's not 11k. It doesn't get It's a card that might have been good in set 8, but it's not good now. Even about set 14, especially, we start getting cards that are a Limit Break 4 ability that's really cool, and a non-Limit Break 4 that's really cool. Freeze Ray Dragon. Oh my goodness, I can't wait for that guy. He is the Link Joker card I will love. He gets a Limit Break 4 plus 3k every time he locks something, blah blah blah. But his real ability is every time you take a damage, lock something. Fantastic. This guy doesn't do anything like that. There's nothing to justify his existence except the fact that he can hit 27k. Which is why this is a great deck to start beginners out with Aqua Force. Rares. You know, trial decks. Just buy one trial deck. You can put a Naval Gazer in there to replace Glory. It works just fine. These are like $1 a piece. You know, you got a kid who wants to try Aqua Force. Well, you know, you don't want to lend him your Maelstroms. You know, I'm not selling you on this card, and I really should, and it's bad of me not to. But there's not much to say about him. He hits 27k, he hits for 2 crit, he forces out at least 2 cards if it's a Perfect Shield, or a 1 pass. And everything works to make him make sure he works. this deck doesn't hit numbers, but its unity of purpose is perfect. Sure, I can manipulate some things, I can modify some things, but it does work the way it's supposed to work. I've considered throwing in self-damagers to help them hit limit break early, but results have been inconclusive so far. Certainly they're a good option, another way to introduce a person to Aquaforce. Self-damagers and other advanced Vanguard tactics. But again, not the best card in the world. Won't win any tournaments, but hey, it's cheap, it's good, it can work with rares, it can work with commons, it can work with triple rares, all as easily, and it's a pretty cool looking card, and I hope it gets more love. I wish I could give it more love. One glory. Every Aquaforce deck should have one glory. Every Aquaforce deck should have one glory. Every Aquaforce should have one glory. Why? Counterblast 1, plus 5k, can't use grade 0s. Can't use grade 1s or highers to guard. No perfect shields. Boosts, 26k. Where's the Basil? There he is. There's the Basil. So basically, boom. Boom. Boom, boom. Hits for 9k, 11k with like a 7k booster or something like that, 12k booster. 8k booster for 12. 26k, zeros only. 1, 2, 3 for a 1 pass. I'm sorry, 2 for a 1 pass, 3 for a no pass. That's fantastic. So it's like, okay, so 20, 30, 40. Whew. But then you put all the triggers here. And it's a Benedict. So, so it's like, okay, this, 20k. Boom, boom. 21k. That's 5 attacks in a turn. 6 attacks, but they won't matter as much. Really, there's no bad way to play. Really, there's no bad way to play this deck. As long as you can get some sort of field, as long as you get like at least one of him, or one of is he a him? Yeah, it's a him. One of him or a wheel assault. This deck will work. This card, for all the things you can say about it, will work as described all the time, provided you can get up to that 4th attack. So really, Maelstrom may never work for you. Hydro Hurricane certainly won't work for you. That was the other triple rare for Aquaforce back in the day. It was Counterblast 2 plus 3k. Plus 3k on attack. But if it hit, kill everything on your opponent's field. Which was good. Super on hit pressure, but hey. Transcore does not combo well with this card. For good... it does. Transcore combos well with all of them. But it doesn't do as much for this card as it does Maelstrom or Glory. Because this is always the pressure. Always the pressure. And like I said before, it is the perfect sort of budget deck. You can start somebody out with Aquaforce. Get some rares together. A lot of people bought cases of set 13. And I'm sure a lot of Tidal Assaults, a lot of Wheel Assaults are just lying around that you can borrow, pick up, whatever. when I bought my case of set 12, I just gave set 12 rares and commons away for free. Just took what I wanted, but made sure, they had whatever they needed. And I encourage people who have friends who like Aquaforce, but they don't have the money to get in, just build them a Cobalt Wave deck. Say, hey, if you ever win anything, send your winnings to me or whatever, but, just give it away. You can, you don't need to give them perfect shields. But, fantastic starter deck. Really teaches the person all about Aquaforce and what it's about. But won't win you a tournament. This has been Wheeler, the Mercenary King, friend of Imagineyourgoddess, out.